everyone and welcome back to Mariana Mas Books. My name is Mariana and today I am here with my Historathon Quarter 3 pile of possibilities. I'm going to make this super brief. If you haven't watched any of my Historathon videos, Historathon is a year-long readathon where we are reading nonfiction history. If that sounds appealing to you, I'm going to leave the link to announcement videos, hosts, co-hosts, etc. down below. The host of this readathon is Bean at Revenant Reads, and there are a ton of co-hosts, including myself, that I'm going to link down below. So again, if it sounds interesting, go ahead and check out the description box. What is Quarter 3? Well, since this is a year-long readathon, the year was divided into quarters where the focus were different time periods. So for Quarter 3, we are going to be reading from 1500 to 1820 of our era, obviously. Being the creator of the challenge has a video explaining why it is this time period. So again, I'm going to link that down below so as to not bore you guys with all of the intro. Today I am going to share with you my pile of possibilities for Quarter 3. Because I have so many books and I want to read all of them, I'm going to attempt something different this quarter because usually I present to you a full list of books and I think, okay, let's see which books I have the time to finish. For this quarter, I kind of want to dip in and out of books. 3 books I want to read in their totality, and then the others I want to read dip in and out of, if that makes sense. This quarter has all books in Spanish, so I'm sorry about that. I'm going to roughly translate the titles and tell you what they're about, but the books are in Spanish. When you are reading Mexican history, there's something else. For first quarter, I read Mesoamerican history, and then second quarter, because I'm always very interested in medieval Europe, my attention was divided and my heart was torn between I want to read Mesoamerica and Mexico, but I also want to read Europe because I love medieval Europe. And so I feel like Quarter 2 was a bit scatterbrained for me because I had 2 different geographic interests and that increased the number of books, and I ended up reading less than in Quarter 1, which is something that always happens. The more options you have, the less you read. So this quarter, my focus will be Mexico. Yes, I think we can call it. So for this time period, it would be more proper to say New Spain, which is when the Spanish conquered Mexico and the region, and the Mexican, Central American, like that geographic area was New Spain. So if you're talking about Mexico, you could say Viceregal Mexico era. Okay, I just have that's not true. I have a lot of books for Mesoamerica still, but then I also want to read about Viceregal Mexico. See, this is what I'm telling you. I have way too many options. Anyway, move on to the books. First, Profetas del pasado, which means prophets of the past. And this one is a great one to dip in and out of because it's a collection of interviews and conversations with different historians and archaeologists, historians, political studies people. And it is the subtitle is 15 Voices About Mexican Historiography. And so because there are 15 interviews, 15 conversations, it's a great book to dip in and out of. Then, and this is one of the books that I want to read cover to cover, and I do want to finish it, and this is La Batalla por Tenochtitlan, or the battle for Tenochtitlan. Tenochtitlan was the capital of the Aztecs. So let's say when Tenochtitlan was conquered by the Spain was when officially Mesoamerica had fallen, at least in this region, because the Aztecs were the big empire. So yeah, so this book is about the battle for Tenochtitlan by Pedro Salmerón Sanginés, and it is it has a small tag that says this is to confront and rip apart, kind of, the official canonical and dominant narratives. So this is a bit of a different perspective on the battle for Tenochtitlan, where the author's premise is that calling the Spanish conquest a conquest is not exactly the right terminology, or it's not the terminology he would use. So I'm very interested about reading this one. So this would be the fall of the Aztec Empire and the conquest, or not conquest, I'll find out what he means, of Spain. Then I have this big chunker that I'm not going to finish, and it's like a super specific topic, which is something I love. I love big academic chunkers devoted to a very specific topic, but I don't think I would read it in its entirety, so I'll probably dip in and out of this one. And it's this gorgeous book called Los Animales y el Recinto Sagrado de Tenochtitlan. So this is about the title would be translated to The Animals and the Sacred Sacred Place of Tenochtitlan, and it's coordinated by Leonardo López Luján and Eduardo Matos Moctezuma, and it's all about animals and like the fauna of Tenochtitlan and how it was used for sacred purposes, for religious purposes, which sounds fascinating, but again, it's a chunker. So I'll dip in and out of this one. Then we have another super interesting one called El Cuerpo del Tiempo by Ana Díaz, which translates as Body of Time, and the subtitle is Codexes, Cosmology and Chronographic Traditions of the Center of Mexico. And I think this is kind of like from the time of the Aztecs and after the Spanish maybe arrived. It has sections about like the Aztec calendar, but then it also has sections about the liturgical calendar. Okay, it's about a specific type of codex that I think is related to time, that is called the Tonalamatl. But I'll let you guys know what it's actually about, because I'm just making things up. It has to do with time, cosmology, and chronographic traditions of the center of Mexico. Then I have too many interesting options. Okay, this one is called La Conquista Espiritual de México, which means the spiritual conquest of Mexico. So it's all about, as the cover would suggest very creepily, it's a very creepy cover, but it's about the missions, the hospitals, like all of the religious, Catholic, Christian religious work in Mexico once it was conquered by the Spanish. So it's what's the word I'm looking for? I'll put it on the screen because I can't think of the word in English, but it's the spiritual conquest of Mexico. Very, very interesting. if Historathon has taught me something, is that the history of the church, of the Christian church, is very interesting and of course very problematic, but very interesting nonetheless. So this one is very interesting. And then finally, for the paper books, I have the other paper book that I want to read from cover to cover. You have already seen this one, and if you are in the Historathon Discord, you have already seen it, and it is Mapa de México Tenochtitlan y sus contornos hacia 1550. So it's map of Mexico Tenochtitlan and its surroundings towards 1550. So this is after the fall of Tenochtitlan, which is why it's Mexico Tenochtitlan, not just Tenochtitlan. And it's about the map of Mexico Tenochtitlan at that time, and it's basically a story of that map. Yeah, you have pages where you have like the iconography of the map, and then in the back you have a fold out of the whole map. It's this one is so cool. I want to read it from cover to cover. If you hold me to something, hold me to this one. And then finally, there are 3 ebooks that I want to read. All 3 of them are about New Spain / Viceregal Mexico. The first one is called Ecos de la Nueva España, which means Echoes of New Spain, and the subtitle is The Lost Centuries of Mexican History, and that one is by Ursula Camba Ludlow. And this one is actually a humoristic nonfiction, so it is history nonfiction, but the writing is humorous. And I had a peek into the first couple of pages, and I am going to see if I vibe with this one, because I think the humor might be a bit too, like it's trying too hard to be funny, and I'm not sure I'm going to vibe with that humor, but it sounds interesting and I am not opposed to a humorous nonfiction. I quite like the idea. And then the other one is Enfermar y Curar, historias cotidianas de cuerpos e identidades femeninas en la Nueva España, which basically translates as to seek and to heal histories, quotidian histories or everyday histories of bodies and feminine identities in New Spain. And that one is by Estela Rosselló Soberon, and it's about women mainly, and specifically about the role of women in healing. So it's about healers, like natural healers, and about their story, their role in society, and the way they were viewed. So women in healing during New Spain. And then the final one that I want to read cover to cover, that is a children's book, is by the same author, by Estela Rosselló Soberon, and it is called Cosas de Todos los Días. So it's actually a 2-volume collection that is called Everyday Things. That is the title. And the first volume is Everyday Things in Viceregal Mexico. So what they ate, what their dress was, the customs, the traditions of every day in Viceregal Mexico. And then, if I like that one, there is a volume 2 that is about 19th century Mexico. So that would be fun to read for quarter 4 if I end up enjoying this one. So that would be my pile of possibilities for quarter 3 of Historathon 2023. I'm sorry for the lack of Historathon videos for quarter 2. As I said, I was a bit scatterbrained, not only because of the topics that were kind of like diverting my attention, but also because my personal life was a bit crazy. But I am newly refreshed and excited, and so hopefully I will make more videos for Historathon in the same vein of what I did for a wrap-up or a mid wrap up in Q1. After that wrap up, things went downhill, and there were many things that were paused. I never went to Teotihuacan. I still want to go and make you guys a video. It won't be the correct time period anymore, but it doesn't matter. I still want to do it. And yeah, so that will be it for today. I hope you're having a great week, month, everything. I will see you soonish in another bookish video, and in the meantime, I wish you happy reading.